Alright, guys, what's up, and welcome to the third version of a US State Battle Royale, my edition. That is very clearly much better than anyone else's, and we'll get to why in just a moment. My version is the most in depth and detailed version of the classic wheel spinning State Battle Royale. Why is that the case? Well, it all has to do with what we've got here. I've made things a bit more detailed here opposed to my previous ones. When a state country goes to war in other videos, they'll just spin a direction and then choose, which can open up some discrepancies, especially as states get bigger and bigger. So instead, when someone goes to war, well, we move to the fifth wheel I have prepared, where I will input all the states it borders and spin it. While this is not perfect, it is much harder to argue that it shouldn't have happened than a wheel spin. If you don't believe me, well, let's get to an example here. Let's say the wheel lands on Massachusetts and it goes up. Well, would you say that that is Vermont or New Hampshire? Or even Maine, because that's technically up as well. See, in mine, if it lands on Vermont, it just gets Vermont. It doesn't do any of the other stuff. So that being said, my face cam is in a bit of a weird position now because of MS Paint, which is what I'm doing using to, update the map. The wheels are all coming from wheel names. So first up, we will spin the wheel here to choose a state. Then we will spin the wheel here to choose um, an idea. Another thing that makes mine unique, they didn't stay. So another thing that makes mine unique are ideologies and how those play into things. So these all do a different thing when expanding into territories and taking wars. So fascism, pretty easy. They just take it. Monarchy it's a little bit convoluted because I didn't really have any like thing associated with monarchy. Democracy liberates places and they get to be free. Communism sets up like puppet governments. Very normal. In the previous ones, democracies would force countries into an alliance, which made things really broken at the end because alliances are very powerful. Non-aligned, it might be the whole alliance starting this time, and monarchy, I might just spin the wheel again to choose which one I want to do. And so, what makes this different? Well, if there is an ideology, they can only align with other ideologies. This is why I'm now making non-aligned. Um they, go and choose different places or set up alliances because if their alliance member chooses another ideology, they're out of the alliance. And then wars can backfire. Not only can they have a 50% chance to just backfire normally, but if the wheel lands on prepare for defense on a country that is being attacked, we remove one of the top ones here and keep going until, well, they might just be so prepared that they force whoever they're fighting into an unconditional surrender. Now let's get the first state going here. So the first state up is going to be Indiana, and now what's it going to choose? And Indiana is going to go ahead and declare neutrality immediately. Now, so what this means is, well, we color them gray. That's disgusting. What? Why is it like that? Anyway, we color it gray, and now actually no country can declare. Indiana cannot declare a war anymore. They have to be declared on. Second state now. The second state up will be Louisiana. And Louisiana is going to go to war. So now, as Louisiana is non-aligned and also no one is prepared for war yet, one of these three places is just going to die. And it's going to be Mississippi. And to make things fair, I have it now here sorted by alphabetical order. I admittedly do not know if LO is the two-letter abbreviation of Louisiana, but it doesn't matter. Texas is going to be the next state up. And Texas will be forming an alliance with another state. Now, if both states can reliably get to the front line of a war that they are in, they will win. Vermont, it's going to be really hard for them to get into a war that they can help with. I don't know why it's so badly colored like that. Next up, oh, it was about to be Louisiana again. But no, it's going to be Maine. And Maine will also be declaring neutrality. It is so ugly. I'm not sure why. Oh, looks like Texas's buddy Vermont is going to start getting into something. Now, Texas is technically non-aligned. Well, non-aligned, technically. So, technically, I should have had Louisiana make an alliance with Mississippi, but we'll do that when we actually get to a non-aligned ideology. So, Vermont is going to prepare for defense, and now that also means that Texas will also be prepared for defense. So we can put 1P there and 1P there. Connecticut is our next state. And Connecticut will also be declaring neutrality. The next state will be Montana. And they will also be declaring neutrality. Regretting adding this a little bit. Next up, my own state of Delaware. And we have yet another declared neutrality. I am really regretting adding this as an option, but I gotta stick it out. What? There, that's about as good as it's gonna get. Oh, well, accidentally spun the event wheel first. We're gonna have Georgia. Georgia will expand. Now, expand means it expands into all other neighbors. And there are a lot of neighbors for Georgia to expand into. Okay, I did a test, and this whole expand concept is kind of stupid, so we're just going to say Georgia goes to war. So now we have Georgia going to war. And they will be killing Tennessee. And now this is what our map looks like. We have a ton of non-aligned places. Virginia up next. And they're going to declare neutrality. This is one very powerful gray faction that's popped up. I mean, I guess it's accurate. Like, most of the US would not just want to fight each other. Massachusetts next up. And Massachusetts will be going to war. Here we go. We have all of these following places that have a 20% chance of dying right now. We have New Hampshire. Next up, and just so you know, this is the East Coast. Iowa or Kansas, it's going to be Iowa. And they will be forming an alliance. Now, if they do choose to form an alliance with one of the others, they will steal that alliance away. But we aren't going to get it. We're going to get, first off, forgot to remove New Hampshire. Second off, we're going to get an alliance between Iowa and North Dakota. Now, that should actually work out pretty well for both of them. Yeah, they can actually team up on 2 different places if they so choose. Hopefully that's a big enough contrast there. Wyoming is making moves. Wyoming will be preparing for some defense. So now Wyoming gets that little P beside it. It's going to be Michigan. And Michigan will also be preparing for defense. Illinois is up next, and they will be declaring neutrality once again. Wyoming has been picked again, and I think that makes Wyoming the first state to have been chosen twice. And they will be choosing an ideology. Which will be God, I hate this. I have to get like 5 different wheel spinning websites or something because I can't have all 5 of them up on Google. And we now have a nationalist, we will say. A nationalist Wyoming that is prepared for war. So we're just gonna give it that little scuffed 4, maybe a Y, because I mean, we all know what that is supposed to be, and I'm not gonna get demonetized over it. Next state will be Land of Cheese, Wisconsin. And they will be forming an alliance just barely. Look at how close that arrow is. I am losing my mind right now at how unresponsive these websites are being. But anyway, we do still have a winner. As Wisconsin will be forming an alliance with Oklahoma. Minnesota, very cold state, up next. Are they're gonna go to war, but I was thinking, dude, it's honestly gonna be much easier for me to just use one window and then have to keep copy pasting whatever I need into it using text documents, and then but that just it's gonna take so long to do that. And they will be attacking. Good choice. They had a 50% chance of dying here. And this now, unfortunately, also leaves Oklahoma without an ally. Utah is up next. And they will be forming an alliance with, they'll be aligning themselves with Montana. Oh yeah, that's also a way non-aligned countries can become, or neutral countries can be pulled into war. And Utah is right back up for the last event of the video. I'm gonna try and make this better for the future. And for the last one, we get a war. So I realized that I have been completely ignoring the whole take and lose wheel, and you know what? In order to retcon that whole thing, that will now only go into effect if the place they are fighting against is prepared for defense or not. Realistically, that makes sense. So now Utah is gonna take out Arizona. With that being said, this is our map at the end of part 1. I hope you guys will join me next time in part 2, which will come out next week as we keep doing this until only one state remains. With that being said, I thank you all for watching, and of course, have a good day.